Welcome to the Startup Grind.
Our honorable guest, Mr. Theodore Zahov, entrepreneur himself for more than 20 years and with successful businesses in IT field and subsequent investments in media and various alternative investments. So he will come and talk to us this evening. Thank you. Hello. Nice to have you here.
Първо да кажа на български се пак здравейте на всички. Преди да минем към официалната английска част. Да, благодаря. Малко се чувствам неудобно ли за овациите, но преживява се. Мога да продължа.
So we continue in English. Theo, as always on such events and such talks, they call the fireside chat, quite informal and around the fireplace theoretically, with some drinks potentially. You know. Tell us something about you. Where did you grow up? Something about your family? Something about your education? So let us know more about you.
I grew up in Sofia, so I was born in Sofia. I went to primary school in Sofia, went to the National Mathematics School in Sofia. Then I had a strange shift in my development, so I went to biotechnology, to study biotechnology in the Sofia University, which was a very strange decision. It turned out that at the end it was very useful. So I graduated in 1990. And then, after going to the army, going back, I just established my first company. Frankly, I didn't know what to do at that time. But just did it and started to do what I was able to do. And at the very beginning, it was kind of very... Actually, I did in practice what my hobbies were, and literally fixing electronic things. So I had my hobbies.
So you didn't know what, you didn't have any vision, any idea, you were proficient in fixing it, suddenly you decided
I knew that I want to deal with computers somehow, with IT. I knew that because during my study I worked as a software programmer. So I was coming from the mathematics kind of area. Yes, biotechnology gave me another view of the world. Genetics, biochemistry, all kind of complicated. But I knew that I want to do something with computers, definitely.
Okay. And anybody from your family or background that had anything to do with computers?
My family is very deeply in the computers. My father is a doctor.
Okay.
Orthopedist. And my mother was a chemist. Okay. So, yeah, I have a good tradition there.
Nice tradition. Yeah. Maybe a lot of people here have their own tradition, either teachers or engineers or anything. Yeah. Okay, and so how it all developed with your first company? You said you were fixing certain equipment and...
Yeah, it was just for 3 months, frankly, because fixing things by yourself is not a real business. It's a kind of a small garage shop.
Okay.
Somehow. Yeah, we know that all of the big businesses in IT started in a garage. This is clear. So if you don't start in a garage, you're not qualified. Clear.
It's not a startup, you know.
No. You have to be in a garage, and you should do something by your hands.
Okay.
Personally. Yeah, don't believe me. It's not true.
I'm taking notes actually. So.
Okay. Yeah, sooner or later you find your market somehow. You find some niches around and you start working there. At that time, this was 1992 in Bulgaria, just after the change, 3 years after the change, there were some huge computer companies around. Actually, they came from old government enterprises. They were well funded, they had a lot of money, I had nothing, literally. was just zero. And so I had to start somehow. And at the end, what happened was that at that time, people were still ready to pay in advance. And this was a huge source of funding. Now it's impossible. Now you look for investors who are ready to lose their money.
So your first investors were actually your clients. They paid in advance.
That's how it happened. So I started to sell computers. This was literally the first thing I did. Very quickly, I realized that in this way, I could do nothing. Nothing. So, but I realized that at the same time, there were many companies who were selling computers, which were selling computers, but they actually didn't import their parts to assemble the computers here. And there were very few who really imported parts. And I kind of had some friends around and asked them, could they import some parts for me? And I promised I'll sell these parts. Then that's what happened. They said, okay. So I started to do that and found kind of a very stupid, it could sound stupid, but it was actually a very nice niche. And the niche is about screensavers. Very funny. It could sound very funny, but it...
The old-fashioned type of...
Yeah, the old monitors, you know, this CRT monitors, they had this tube, and if you don't want to be bombarded by electrons, you need to put this screen filter in front of it. Frankly, I doubt if those screen filters did anything, but they were very fashionable. Everybody wanted a screen filter. Everybody. So you go to a computer, and if it doesn't have a screen filter, you don't go there. It's very dangerous. It could kill you. Then, what happened was that the companies were selling those here. I remember the numbers, really. It was so long ago, but I still remember those numbers. They sold this, I think, $14 per piece. At the same time, the same thing, which was stupid piece of plastic and some glass on top of it, or even some mesh, again, plastic mesh. So we literally could believe these things did nothing. I believe so, really, still today. But this thing was sold in Singapore, FOB Singapore, for $4. And these companies, which were selling those filters for 14, they were ready to buy it in numbers, to buy those filters in numbers, but numbers, let's say, 500 filters for $10. So my job was extremely easy. I was just telling them, look, do you want that I can sell you very good price? You can make 40% on top of it for $10. They were ready to prepay. So they prepaid me, I ordered the filters, and then they sold it. So actually, what I did was precisely, it was a wholesale of screen filters. Super stupid, super small. But at the same time, in a few months' time, I imported containers full of screen filters. And one container was able to transport something like 4,400 filters. I just calculated, it's simple. And when I bought containers, then the price dropped to $2. So I had $2 FOB, it was already Taiwan, it was not Singapore anymore. I had transport per filter something like 75 cents. So my price here, my cost was $3. I sold this for 10, the whole container. So $7 margin, multiplied by 6,400, $4,000. Quickly. It could sound very small now, but it was huge for me at that time. So my scale was that. And then I did this several times. So I kind of got some muscles. Said, okay. I didn't care about my salary at that time because I was able to cover my personal expenses, and I already have some stuff. So we were, I don't know, but 3-4 people, something like that. And of course, because I was coming from software business, software job. At the same time, in parallel, what we did was we wrote with a friend of mine a system for kind of, this I don't remember really. So it was kind of something for enterprises. And we had one customer. Very nice, small Bulgarian enterprise. But they were ready to pay us, and just because we are doing it, we had this software written. And I continued my search for more and more activities, because it was clear, you can do something. You could have a niche, but if you stay there, at some point it will just end. Yeah? You go, you can.
So you always look for changes.
Yeah, you always have
you
to look for
really
something new to do. Okay, you can innovate, you can do whatever, or you could just look for the market niches and just explore that. So,
but
big change.
The way you explain, does this mean that you never had any failures? I mean, you started.
No, at that time, yes, at that time I didn't
Okay,
have failures.
okay.
So it was, but what do you say? Just in 1 year and failures? Come on. No failures for the first year.
Okay. So this is the typical startup. You start, you do 1 year business, and you have no failures.
No. Okay. In second year I had failures, but first no. First was we were too small to have failures.
Okay.
Because how can you fail if you are too small? You just cannot go over. You're there. It's very difficult. The only thing you can lose is your personal salary, but okay, this is not a failure. This is kind of a normal thing. So the big change came when actually exploring my contacts around, we got in contact with the German. At that time it was AG. AG. Do you remember AG? AG was a nice, big, extremely big German concern. And they did many things. They made trains. They made home appliances, like washing machines. This trademark still exists, but yes, but at that time this company was still alive. It was a big German concern, and one of its parts was engaged in production of the letter sorting machines. So these guys produced letter sorting machines for 64% of the world market. So they were huge, really. So they were looking to outsource, because it was at that time to outsource software development was kind of very fashionable. It still is, not so, but... So they came to Bulgaria to visit us, to see how capable we are of writing some software for them. There is a very nice story there. So they came, we prepared a demonstration. I invited all of my classmates from the National Mathematics Gymnasium, because all of them were software programmers already. And they were good. So we prepared a very nice demonstration, what are we capable of. Actually, the guy said, okay, apparently you could do the job. We like you, just give us a price. Now it gets very interesting. So, at that time, the programmer's salary in Bulgaria was really low compared to programmer's salary in Germany, for example. Of course, I didn't want my people to have low salaries, but still, the levels which would set up their salary was still incomparably low to the German salary, and this is quite okay because we should be outsourcing. We should be outsourced, they should buy from us. The only reason for them to do it is just lower cost. But, and we were about somehow calculating what price should we give to the Germans. And the cost would be calculated something like cost. Not to be very wrong, but something like 7 German marks per hour. 7, probably 8 or 10, okay, something like that. But is it our cost or not? At that time, I said, okay, we had something roughly 10, we could probably live with 15, then it's a good price, why not 15? Then I had some discussions, and I got a very wise advice. You are crazy. This was the literate advice. If you give this number to the Germans, you are just crazy, plain stupid. So we gave 35. And we got the confirmation and started work at 35. Yes, we made a good profit at that time. Yes, we accumulated some funds, we had positive cash, and thanks God we did that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be successful, just because it's very simple. Your people are not 100% engaged. They are just kind of 50%, 30%, 70%. You always have some holes during your activity. You can never engage all of them, and even more, you could not hire new people if you don't calculate these gaps. So we did that, it started, it was extremely nice. And then, because I still had my kind of passion for selling computer parts.
This is still before Spectrum.
This is before Spectrum.
Yeah.
This is the preliminary story, so it's the small story actually, because Spectrum is a bit bigger. Yeah, so okay. And I had kind of a stupid dream. I wanted to really import a full container of monitors, not filters, monitors this time. Now I'm getting upgrading.
Bigger and bigger.
Yeah, just monitors were more expensive. At that time, nobody was ready to pay for monitors in advance anymore. Because filters, you know, they are a very nice thing. They don't have warranty, they don't transmit any electricity, so forget about service. It's just super stupid plain product with huge margin. But monitors are something different. They are more expensive, less margin, less incomparable, I don't know, 15%. Warranty, repairs, parts, shitty. It's really, don't import monitors, don't get that. But I had losses at that time, so because AG was starting, we were writing software, we already became, I don't know, 20 people, so it was a nice company. It was, why not to do that? So I invested, paid the container, it came here, and then nobody wanted these stupid monitors. They were not branded, so they were branded, but the brand was kind of, nobody knew the brand. I think it took about a year to sell them all. 1 year. This was the last thing I did on the...
But it's very interesting that you told me when we discussed last week that actually kind of, I think you knew in advance that this thing gonna fail, right?
No, I knew that it would not be as easy as the story with the filters, but I wasn't sure that it would fail. I still believe that yes, we can solve it at the end. Yeah. The question is how and did we made some profit? And I frankly I don't remember. But I believe even if we did it should be something extremely small. It wouldn't cover the salaries of those who deal with this content. Definitely. So generally, yeah, stupid thing.
And let's jump to Spectrum actually.
It was a mistake definitely because but it was a small mistake. Such a mistake could never break it down. So this was not kind of a deal breaker. It was you try, you see, okay, it doesn't work. So these mistakes are easy because you know even if it fails, you don't care. Okay, you care, but still okay. Next time. So this was this type of mistake. It was really calculated in advance that even if if everything goes wrong, even then, even if I threw out the whole container, nothing could happen to us. We were strong enough. And then I started to search for something new. I wanted to do more and more things. I started to look for new business, not only software. So software was working, it was fine, it was developing well, so we were looking for new customers, we found some at that time. But still, I kind of felt that this shouldn't be the only thing should be done. I started to look for something more. And how did this happen? At that time, yeah, of course, being a software company trying to be modern, you always try to, at the time, internet was just starting. We started, for example, immediately to have email. It was 95, it's also so archaic, yeah, a little bit. So, this, it was very difficult to get email. It was kind of a very strange thing. You collect all the messages, you pack them, you send them to kind of organization, and they eventually send these messages at 12 o'clock in the midnight to someplace in the world, and it gets distributed. It was UCP.
Like a real mail in digital too.
A little bit faster, I hope. But still. Then it was pain. So, okay, we were looking for something better. Then it got it. We got it. And I remember we got a permanent internet connection of the breaking speed of 9.6 kilobits per second. It was literally 9.6 qubits. And we were so happy that we would get this incredible speed at that time. It was 95, 96 probably. Then, when we connected there, it was Infotel, which was part of, at that time, I think BTC was not a separate story, or probably it was at that time. It was Infotel, which was part of BTC. Then we realized that it is not 9.4, 9.6 qubits, it was less, it was 2.4 something. We said, what is this? It doesn't work. I said, no, you have 9.6, but it's to us. It doesn't mean that it's to the world, it's just to us. What's this? So the story of the this story with the capacity always oversold capacities started from that time. So yeah, actually it was a nice price, but it didn't work. It was really.
Is this what triggered you to enter into the internet and
it came a little bit later, but it was a very funny story. Our search for a reliable internet connection. It was incredibly stupid. Yeah, we were looking here and there. We were never able to find it. Finally, what happened was we tried several. So there was some ISPs at that time. It was very the beginning of the business actually. There was some company called BolBG. Do you remember BolBG? I remember KIT, for example. There was a KIT which would mean communication and information technologies. CIT, there was some. We tried them all, and none of them was working well. Finally, we ended up with Technolink, which was actually the best working of all of them, but we had a big problem there, and the problem was everything went fine until the moment when we were at CeBIT. So Biotim, which was my first company, was actually one of the first Bulgarian companies which exhibited at CeBIT software solutions. Yeah. And we were there, very proud with our website. Everything brilliant. And then what happened? We were there, spending a huge amount of money being there, because there was also kind of an organized stunt for Bulgaria. We were just alone, like, I don't know, very proud of ourselves, ready to demonstrate. And then what happens? The line is cut. We don't have internet in Sofia. There is no website in Germany. Clear. I got mad. I was so angry. So I was talking on the phone. There were no mobile phones at that time. Probably they were. What happens? Fix it. 2 days. So CBT is 5-6 days. 2 of those we didn't have internet there. Okay, thank you. It's nice. So when we came back here, I said, okay, this is enough. I just established an ISP for our own usage. That's it. We do it, then okay. And that's how actually the idea of establishing SpectrumNet came. And I entered the internet area. And this was also a very nice story because for those who remember who the players were, I went to search how can I do that. At that time there were only satellite connections, they were not in terrestrial, so these fibers around, they didn't exist at that time. And they were crazy expensive, so nobody could afford that. But there was some dishes. Actually, there was just one dish, probably 2. And I went there, and these were the nice guys, Inovent and Maxim Zahov. One of those is now the owner of Pulsat.com, and the other is the owner of Netera. So I went to them, and they were operating a dish, just a single dish. 2 guys, I want to buy one. If yes, of course, we make an offer. They made him an offer, and this offer was kind of, okay, we'll do that. But in the meantime, they told me a story. An event. It was very funny, so we were talking. So, no, what happened? What happened there? A guy just came just before you, a week before you, 2 weeks. And they say, we are in a hurry. We don't want to order a dish. We want to buy your dish. The event is a day maximum, and they had a dish. I said, really? Yes. Do you sell it? No, why not? Okay, maybe not. And I bought it on the next day. That's how it happens. Actually, it was very quickly. It was very quick. It was a funny story. So Inovent was very, yeah, we were good friends since that time. And you know who were the guys who were there before me? These were Nikolai Gorchov and Victor Frances from Orbital.
The ones that wanted to buy the dish, right?
Yeah. But they came back and said, oh no, this is too expensive, our investors wouldn't buy it. I didn't have investors, I actually operated my own funds, so it was easier for me, but actually those were the guys coming there. So that's how the story began. So I just took this thing, I started to upgrade it, developed it. Yeah.
So never listen to the investors or work on your own, kind of. Or...
Yeah. Don't do that.
Something very interesting to me, at least. What about partnerships? Because in all these years, there were always people around, I guess, that kind of were partners with you or partnering.
Yeah.
So how do you develop those, and what is your attitude? And in general, I mean, not only partners, but how do you motivate people?
Yeah.
What is the drive?
I should say partnership is extremely important. So if you look at the story of SpectrumNet, for example, this company, the development of this company, at least up to a certain point, but actually up to the end, it was always due to some very good partnerships. So we always made partnerships on different spheres. For example, what I was successful in the very beginning, I convinced digital systems to buy from us. This was huge, because there was these guys were the oldest ISP in Bulgaria. They were so proud of themselves. They didn't talk to anybody, but somehow they agreed to work with us. This was a very nice story, because they were very strong, and actually this helped us for our development. We made partnerships with actually most of the ISPs. For example, looking at that times, a very important story was so-called Bulgarian peering. I don't know if you know what is it, probably not, but at that time it's still the same, frankly. So it's still the same in Bulgaria, although there is some development to make a centralized exchange points. But at that time, the local providers, they have local connections to each other. And those connections were slow. So what we did was, okay, we should upgrade those. And we made connections with almost everybody. SpectrumNet made connections with almost everybody. Actually, SpectrumNet became the center of the Bulgarian peering. So most of the Bulgarian traffic passed through us. When I say most, I would say 80%. So there was no any other point in the Bulgarian internet where Bulgarian local traffic passed. So that made us successful in partnering with some websites, for example, deer.bg. So at that time, they were the only one, the biggest. They were a real power at that time. So they connected to us. We made a partnership with them. So they had this help with us, this helped to them. So for example, at that time, they grew kind of twice per month. So they got bigger and bigger, and with the rate, they doubled every month. And that happened after they connected to Spectrum. Before that, apparently their growth was limited because of the provider. So they were not able to, their traffic was not able to get through. Later on, we partnered with many other companies, smaller ISPs, especially in the country, because national expansion for telecommunications is a very expensive thing. So we did that. Actually, we took over many small ISPs as well, probably 50.
But when you were doing all these partnerships, what was the rationale? Because you would expect that once business grow, I mean, you kind of switch to business planning and analyzing various things. While some would argue that in general, your gut feeling is much more important. I mean, your perceptions and even your emotions. So how was it for you? I mean, from the entrepreneur's perspective.
Gut feeling could be very important, but gut feeling without data is nothing.
Okay.
You need data. You have to make forecasts what will happen to the wholesale market, what will happen to the price, to the devices, for example. Sometimes it's important to sell the future. So, for example, we make a deal, but okay, this is probably in the context of my business, respect to network. So I made a lot of deals which were based on the future performance. That means we were selling communications at the price of tomorrow, today, but at that very moment, I knew that in 3 months' time I would have this price in my hands anyway. So without this data, I wouldn't do that because it would not be fair to the customers. So doing this, you need data. You can have your feeling what should you do to make it better, but you need this. And another very important point, I think, is to somehow recognize the moment when you have to switch to another part of the market. For example, Spectrum has started as a provider of providers. So we started selling wholesaling internet to the others actually. We had very few end customers. We always have some retailers and corporates which were using these permanent connections. But we had no any retail households, for example, nothing. At some point, you have to realize that you have to switch your business and sell to some other part of the market. So what we did was actually we sway away from being a provider of providers, and we started to sell more and more to companies which were using internet to resell it, but just for their own use. We were very well positioned because the quality of our network is quite good, and it was easy to do that. And we had to, otherwise, at the end, we wouldn't grow. We would just, even worse. If Spectrum didn't change its focus, its customer focus, so here, for example, is Ralica, who was our commercial director, actually the best one. If you need commercial director, approach her. But don't be too aggressive because I still have some plans with her. So you have to switch sometimes. I should say, actually, constantly you have to look around and never forget that your niche and your marketplace is changing. If you don't change according to what happens around you, it will vanish at some point. You'll be shut down by the others, clear.
And based on this development overall and looking at how to expand the business eventually, what would you say was the key driver in the exit towards MTEL? I mean, what made this deal so successful?
I will go there, but before that I would say the following. So Spectrum never had a target to be sold. So we never operated the business in a way to be sold. We never wanted that. So what I always wanted, and actually what our team wanted, and this is also very important, we had a brilliant team. The team within the company, all the people were dedicated, they wanted. Actually, it was almost like a religion, you know. And frankly, I should say thank you, Orbital, for that, really. Because we were so kind of fighting with them everywhere, in every field, that this further motivated all of us. And then, of course. Then when I say, it's another story, very funny story, because everybody thought that we were always enemies, probably. But since 2001, we are not. The truth is that since 2001, we were enemies on the market, but we were partners on the purchasing field. So we purchased our connections together with Orbital. That made us much stronger on how to buy it, and we cooperated, so we saved a lot of costs there. So we were real enemies on the market side, selling, and we were real partners buying. It's
nice.
It probably sounds a little bit dualistic, but still we managed to do that.
MTEL, exit.
Yeah, the point was, so we never wanted to sell the company. Actually, no, it's not the right sentence, but we always considered the possibility to sell it if somebody comes and wants to buy it, but we never run it in a way it to be intended for sale. So we didn't want, we wanted our business to be sustainable, and so SpectrumNet never made losses, never. So a single day, this company never made losses. So we always made profit. So whatever happens, we were there. We were kind of a position, okay, if somebody wants, please come. We will negotiate hard. But if you don't come, we don't care. We just exist and we continue our development. So this was the very basic strategy. And looking from today's perspective, I should say this is the right strategy. Nobody should run a business, and I will never do it. Should run a business in a way that it should kind of become better, look bigger, very nice, package, take it. What if nobody comes to take it? What happens next? Then you just die. So my recommendation towards everybody, don't do business just to be sold. Do business because you like it, you want to develop it, you want to actually to create value. It's cliche. Creating value, everybody talks about creating value. But somehow, at least part of this is true. And then one day, yes, Intel came and said, guys, we are interested to enter your segment. I said, guys, if you pay enough, yes, we would sell this company. And then the story started. We had partners with Alpha Finance, and Yuri knows it very well. And they were very professional of preparing extremely good offers, super nice looking offers. And then you enter the negotiations phase. And the truth is that when you are strong financially and when you are not afraid of going bankrupt, then you can negotiate very hard. You don't care. And if you believe that you still have futures, of course, you even negotiate even harder. But then you get your price. You get your price. If the guys in front of you are really serious to buy, and you really have your good position, you're well grounded, then okay. Then you're fine. Others, the thing could always happen. Somebody could buy you even if you are not very well grounded, but it's just pure luck at that time. And just to depend on luck in business is not a very nice approach. Probably wrong. But there are many people who do it as well. So.
What are, after this era, more or less, it's kind of era because it continued for nearly 15 years, something like that, the Spectrum story. What are the next horizons? I mean, what are the next challenges for you? What are you looking for? Or what would you recommend to the young entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I should say I've seen many people who made something successfully and then failed. Many. Because when you're successful, you kind of develop a syndrome like, I can do everything. I'm so smart, I'm successful. No, guys, I can do everything. And this is not true. The truth is that you are kind of okay, you're probably capable of something, probably good enough to do something, but far from doing everything well. And this is, so actually I was in this position, but I knew it because I've seen it before that happening. Before I saw the company, I've seen many people who really felt in the fields they didn't understand, really. I wouldn't give examples here, because there's some very famous people in the country, so I won't want to insult them. So I decided to be very careful. Careful means I want to have the next enterprise, and of course I established my investment company. It's called Inovent. Yeah, nice name, you see. We are looking for innovations, of course. But still very careful looking what to do. So far, I should say I have been very conservative financially since the moment I saw Spectrum. Conservative means I didn't invest in ventures which I think are kind of gambling with the profit. So that means that I'm still on the field and looking where to invest heavily. I invest in some kind of a very conservative projects who are secured in a way to produce profits. At the same time, I invested in media, which is purely not profit-oriented investment, purely not profit-oriented. But I kind of felt that I have to do something for the society anyway. I knew that it's not for money, and that's why I invested in Economedia, in consideration that this is the newspapers which Economedia publishes are one of the probably the most objective in the country, let's say this way. I don't say that they're not wrong from time to time, but still they're the best source of unbiased information you can find there somehow. Part of this, trying here and there, looking, thinking. I went to.
If you were to invest, would it be again IT or software or for innovation?
It's a very good question, because when I had done this sale of Spectrum, I said, okay, I'm so open. I'm kind of. I have no limitations. I could invest in every single thing, every nice thing I see. Is it true? No, it's not. The truth is, I've been offered some different businesses. I didn't get anything. So, I don't understand what they're doing. So, no, guys, I don't understand this one. For example, a friend of mine came and said, look, let's plant some trees. And there are some very Chinese trees which grow very fast. And then in, 5 years they will grow. We can sell them the wood. Nice business model, and some people are doing it very well. I said, okay, agriculture, come on, I'm so far away from this thing. No, I don't want agriculture, thank you. And so I had some different offers like that. I rejected all of them. And probably I'm wrong. Probably some of those ventures will do well. But I just don't get it. I don't understand it, and don't feel comfortable. So apparently I'm not so broadly open. Apparently I still look in the technology, definitely. I know it to today's date, so I'm clear. Yeah. But this is very useful. If you want to invest somewhere, you have to narrow it a little bit. You cannot say, I would invest everywhere. It doesn't work. It doesn't happen. You need some focus. And the other thing which is also very important is you have to systematically start your search for new companies and new ventures. It's a systematic process. So, of course, you can sit and wait and say, okay, guys, I want to do something. Anybody wants something to tell? Has something to tell? Then nobody comes. You have to start searching. Unfortunately, in Bulgaria, there are not too many projects, too many new projects, and it's not so easy. And the road for Bulgaria to invest abroad is quite a difficult thing. So it's not like doing things here. So anybody who says, no, I can do it everywhere, don't believe it. It's just phrase.
Any advice to the young entrepreneurs? Lately, in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, there were a lot of young generation software proficient guys and girls, and we have all kind of startup events and meetups, competitions, and all. We have accelerators already operating in the country. So, what would be the advice to these guys?
First of all, the guys who have ideas, and there are many of them, are quite nice, I should say. They should believe in what they do. The field is very difficult, frankly. The internet is a very good thing, and it's a very bad thing at the same time. Why? Because internet brings the worldwide competition everywhere. When you start doing something, you are exposed to all these huge companies around. We all know their names. It's even one of those is written here. I like it very much. But they are already playing. They are huge. We cannot compete with them. This is unfortunately the fact. So, what the internet does, it brings the global competition, but what also it does is that it actually, for a particular field, if you look carefully, you will see that there is just one winner. We have really just one winner in search. We have one real winner in the electronic commerce, which is eBay. Okay, Amazon as well. But there are just few players in every field which are successful. And this is very centralized competition somehow. And actually, is it a competition or is it yet a monopoly? So what happens? Network effect is cruel. So from all these software-based projects, and especially most of them are kind of internet-based, which is quite normal today, the success rate for all of them would be, I don't know, it is clear it's less than 2%. So out of 100, 1 or 2 probably would be successful, and in Bulgaria this rate is even lower. Okay, nobody should get discouraged at this, because, but it's just a reality show. Everybody who starts thinking should consider this in his mind. And that's why I say, if you don't believe in your project, just don't start it. If you don't believe it, don't do anything. It's better. Otherwise, you just lie to yourself, and we very often lie to ourselves. We say, do that and that. We never do it. But if you are not passionate, and if you don't really feel well about what you do, just don't start it. Better. But if you believe, then if you don't start it, you are committing a crime. If you believe in what you want to do, just do it. Do it. This is basic, very basic.
I actually think it's a very nice ending, to be honest, of the talk. To encourage everybody present in the room to ask you any questions that he or she may feel like. And of course afterwards I hope you stay around for 5-10 minutes, whatever, so that anybody could actually talk to you on one-to-one basis. So, yeah, anybody? Okay, one from the back.
Hello, my name is Boris Christoph. I have a question back in your internet ISP days. How did it happen that Bulgaria has one of the best internets in the world? In terms of speed and internal. Every time you go abroad, you just depress me.
This is the Bulgarian miracle. This is the only, probably not the only, but a big reason for this, a very important reason is we had no regulation. So internet was free of regulation. So it was not under kind of you can do it, you cannot, you can do it. Everybody could do it, first. Second, we had a very conservative incumbent. Conservative means it was slow, it was actually it refused to everybody to have this so-called bitstream connectivity. It's a technical term, I wouldn't explain it, but actually it means that they would provide the connectivity to the end customer, and somehow the ISPs could rent it from them. They didn't do that happily. Third thing, frankly, the regulations of the municipality, so how the cable should be hanging down around, were not followed strictly. And that gave the chance for everybody to put these nice webs of cables outside. This was very important. So, it was not very, it was, frankly, it was ugly, clear. But it's better to be ugly and functioning. It was working. The story started, if you remember, the story started from these so-called game clubs. Game clubs was a very nice invention. They started to somehow put cables around them to connect more and more households just for gaming. This was the beginning. So then it developed, of course, but these are the three reasons. No regulation, from one side. Conservative incumbent, so better no incumbent at all. So no regulation means a lot of competition. So a lot of competition. Conservative incumbent, that means these guys are not in the game. they're playing in some other field, they are disconnected, they do whatever they want, that's it. And the third field is missing, okay, there was a regulation, but again no regulation of how do you put your cables. So no internet regulation and no cabling regulation. Then you could do everything. Frankly, if you go, for example, in some more regulated country, they couldn't do that just because of the safety standards. They would say, oh no, what is this Ethernet? Oh, come on, if just lightning comes, then everybody on the train will be dead. Yeah. You see nobody's dead here. So, but they would say that. They would never allow this to happen in this way, and as you see it. And at some point, why Bulgaria is so well positioned? The reason is not because the Ethernets are hanging around anymore. The reason is because we have fibers. And why do we have fibers? Because of the competition, the Ethernet was not enough. So we wanted to be faster. How could you be faster? You have to put some fibers around. Then the cable operators, cable TV operators, had already had some fibers. So actually everybody moved to the fibers at some point, at least on a backbone level. Then companies like SpectrumNet, for example, started to do fibers to home, or at least to the building, and then we ended up here. Now we are in more serialized way. There are no more cables around, or there are some, but it's not. But putting cables, bringing from outside and putting in the ground, this didn't have negative impact on the speed of the networks, because everybody did it in a way that the networks get actually faster. And they didn't get faster because moving the cables into the ground actually made the networks more reliable. And making them more reliable, there were less congestions. So they're kind of, because in a network, you always have some fibers somewhere. When you have many fibers at the same time, your pipes are not enough to transfer all the traffic because there are just few left for backup, and then you're actually congested. When everything is more reliable, it's generally faster. So that's what happened. Yeah, that's why we are there. Pretty simple. Actually, it did happen by mistake. The government made, from their point of view, a mistake not to regulate the internet. And it was a very nice story. It was during when Ivan Kostov was a prime minister. They wanted to put a license in power. License to license this thing. Yes, of course. Then, because the PR of Ivan Kostov told him, look, so somebody convinced the PR. I think that I know who they are, but these are not the only guys. For example, Veni Markovsky did some good job at that time. And they convinced the PR that if they do that, it would have a very negative impact on the image of Ivan Kostov. So the PR actually said, no, you shouldn't do that. And the process had already started. So they were kind of moving in a way to license it. And then actually, no, we don't worsen our image, we stay with the good image, we don't license this thing, we don't touch it, we don't understand it, better not to touch it. So that's how our internet was safe from licensing at that moment. For municipalities, it's very funny, because everybody says, oh, it's ugly, we have to remove it. Yes, you want to remove it, but all of you who want to remove it are still in the same way connected in the same way at home. So from one point, we don't have, yes, we have to remove it, I don't know, if I remove it, then I don't have internet at home, so I don't touch it. It's this way. Actually, this is a very good story of Bulgaria.
Anybody?
Hello, my name is Irina Buryalova, and I have actually 3 questions for you. The first one is, when do you feel in your entrepreneurship journey was the breakthrough point, and what allowed you to move to the next level at that time? This is the first one.
What does it mean breakthrough? My interest is I try to make some people happy, telling them what I do, and yeah, they're quite interested, some are not. And yeah, and try to be useful to the society somehow. I don't know if I'm successful, frankly, but at least I can sleep well.
Thank you.
There was another question.
Hello, my name is Theodore Zahov. I'd like to ask, in your experience, how do you measure the odds of success of a project against, say, a commercial project that's already on the market? Say, you start building a tool software or something of the sort that's already on the market by some bigger company. How do you measure the odds that your product will have clients and actually sell? So you could measure if it's even remotely useful to start the project.
Yeah. The word I don't like in your question is measure. How could you measure if your project could be more successful than some already established commercial made by big company? You cannot. The guys who can measure or could be used by you as a measurement are the clients who would buy it.
I'm sorry,
Right.
I'd probably say foresee rather than measure. How do you foresee
yeah.
that?
I don't think you can measure this, really. Or you can believe that your product will be better. And probably it will be better. That's important. But being better doesn't mean that it will sell better than this one. And it doesn't mean that anybody would, except you, would think that your product is better. So you would need a lot of marketing, definitely, promotions, pushing, and then the best way to do that, of course, is to already have a customer who is somehow, at least up to some point, ready to test your just new coming product. And then if it's good, unfortunately it should be cheaper probably, unfortunately. Then this customer could use the product, they could use as a reference, and then you can go with these standard business processes described everywhere. But initially, before you start writing it, to know if it would be better, it's just your belief. It's just your belief. It's your passion to do it. And I don't believe that somebody can make a very thorough, deep market research and say, yes, here this is so bad that we can write perfect, much better, and we'll be successful. Probably it is possible, 1 by million chance, because everybody's trying to do the thing. Yeah? But if you look for a niche, when you see it's empty, you feel it and you somehow believe it, then yes, you could go there. But most software projects look at this. Most software projects, even those most successful internet projects, nobody started doing that with the idea that this would become so big and successful. And this is actually a tragedy, because it's coming by chance. Facebook, it's huge, but did Zuckerberg know that he knew that he's doing something so big? No, he was doing some system for his university to just be like by the girls somehow. And then as a side effect, this thing somehow get bigger. And probably it's not clear if he was the reason, and probably not. Google, yeah, okay, these guys tried to do something better than Alta Vista and Yahoo at that time. And actually they ride it a little bit the open source wave at this moment. So, but I believe that they didn't know what will happen. I'm sure, definitely. Well, once they get bigger, they actually try to incubate a lot of projects inside, and most of those just never see a real use. But so you never know. You always have to try before. Or I don't know, if you find something so special, so unique, then you probably know. But I haven't seen such thing up to now. Inovent, by the way, Dilkov, the guy from whom I got the dish at the beginning, yeah. had a very nice saying, even at that time. He said, oh, I have realized something. What? I think that nothing can become big from nothing. Every big thing comes from a smaller thing. So to do something, you have to have done something smaller just before that. And this is true.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for the questions. I think we have some more minutes.
So, no more questions.
Yeah. If you like to talk, I don't know, in Bulgarian as well. There is a small gift to Theo to kind of commemorate his visit to this event. Kind of, yeah, just to remember, here are Theo. And I would actually like to thank everybody of you that came here tonight. It means a lot for this initiative, the first event. I would also like to thank the guys that helped it happen. Kotze, who is sitting here on the fourth row, and Vasil, and of course Teddy and Plamen in the back. And of course Theo, being such a kind of pleasant guest and having all these funny and nice stories to us. Thank you, Theo.
Thank you. I want to thank you all being here actually, because you were so patient to hear all these stories. I don't know how interesting they were, but yeah, thank you for listening to me.
Със сигурност минава и на български.